trading under entity, I truly believe is the right way for two reasons. One, what the LLC literally do is two things. It gives you a limited liability. It's kind of a protection umbrella. So if I come after Calvin, right, I'm not going to come after Calvin personal assets. I'll be coming after Calvin entity. Whereas if you're trading under your social security number, if I'm coming after you, I'm going to come after you with everything you have. So the LLC is kind of like a protection umbrella to protect your assets. The number two thing that it does gives you is that things are not under your social security number. The more that things are less under your name and under your social security number, the better it is. Tax benefits was not created for individual. It was created for business owner. This is why our corporate world continues to blossom, right? And as individuals that we considered middle class, we still like struggling. So the benefit of taxation are for business owners. So why not be a business owner?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Calvin here, Forex Beginner Podcast. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's feeling excited about the new opportunities that 2025 has for us. And it wouldn't do justice for me to just get on here, start talking trading without talking about taxes. All right. This is tax season. So I wanted to bring a professional in the building to give us some juice, some game on taxes, being a trader, trading as a business and all that good stuff. So many questions I get all the time, Abby, about taxes. So ladies and gentlemen, we got Miss Abby in the building again. You were like one of the first 10 guests I had on the podcast when I first officially launched this podcast. Yeah. How you doing, Abby? Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. God Family Forex. I was looking at your shirt.
Yeah, my wife brought me this 2 years ago, and I've worn it maybe 3-4 times, so I decided to pull it out. You know, I think when I woke up, it was in Orlando, it was 45.
Really?
When I woke up. But as the day progressed and I drove down, I was like, okay.
The weather is beautiful.
Yeah.
The sky and the sun.
Yeah.
It is nice.
So you in Seattle now. So
I'm in Seattle.
Yeah. Rain and cold.
But understand too, 45 in Florida and 45 in Seattle is not the same.
How is it different?
45 in Seattle is cold.
Okay.
Whereas 45 in Florida is nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because we still have the sun.
Yeah.
Whereas in Seattle, it's wet cold.
Mm.
So it's a little bit more colder. Mm-hmm.
Is it windy though?
No, not really. Not really.
It's windy here.
Yeah, it's windy.
Yeah, especially in Miami.
Yeah.
If it's 45 in Miami, that wind's
and that's
blowing
that water.
That wind chill's wind chill feel 20. It's crazy. Let's talk taxes, Abby.
Yes.
So you are a trader. You're in trades right now. You know, before we started, she was in trades, right? You're in trades.
I was trading Tesla.
Yeah. What I want to do is I want to jump right into taxes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pull back. And then I want to talk about your trading journey, because we didn't really talk about your trading journey the first time we spoke. So I want to hear more about your trading journey. But I want to get into taxes because I've been getting questions about taxes. Me personally, I've been trading with prop firms primarily. 2024, last year was the year where I was really prioritizing personal accounts. So taxes is going to be something a little different for me, right? Yeah. Trading with prop firms, you're an independent contractor. Yep. It's easy to just, write stuff off. Yeah. And, it's kind of like your Uber driver. You know what I'm saying? That's what I tell people. It reminds me of my Uber days, right? So, write off a lot of stuff. Hey, my computer, my desk, things like that, right? But in terms of being a trader and preparing for taxes, the big question I get is, when I take money out of the market, how much money should I be putting aside for taxes? That's one of the big questions I get. What do you say about that?
That's a very good question. Now, let me start off by saying to all my Forex traders, I know this year, 2024, was a hard year for that community. A lot of our clients that traded a lot of prop firms, there were some sad days. But I truly still believe, there's light in the tunnel, and the more opportunities, doors are going to open for that area, in the Forex community. But if you are trading with your own money as a Forex trader, I usually recommend 15 to 20%. Put aside. Now, if you are trading with a prop firm, even as you're trading with a prop firm, because if you're trading as a 1099, right? If they're sending you a 1099 at the end of the year, you are going to be taxed twice. So you are going to be taxed on the self-employment side, and you're going to be taxed on the federal side. So you want to either you have two options. You could do what's called estimated tax, which on a quarterly base, or you could wait till the end of the year. And if you're going to wait till the end of the year, I would say put about 15 to 20% on the side. It's better to be prepared than not, right?
Yeah. So I've been doing like 30. So I feel like I'm good. Yeah. So I'll be doing like 30. Just because you just never know. You know what I mean? And then when you operate, like I operate a media company as well. And it's kind of like, so here's the next question I got for you, right? Should I create, or should we as traders, especially if we're investing in the prop firm space and we are 1099, should we create an LLC specifically for that?
What's going on, traders? It's your boy Calvin here, Forex Beginner Podcast. If you are looking to trade Forex, if you're looking to trade indices, if you're looking to trade commodities with up to $800,000 in simulated prop firm capital, look no further than Blue Guardian, the prop firm. Blue Guardian, the prop firm, offers traders like you and I the opportunity to get up to 90% profit splits once we reach funded status. All you got to do is pass their challenge process, proving that you have a trading plan, that you can manage risk and meet the profit targets, and boom, you are a Blue Guardian funded trader. And most importantly, you can enjoy weekly payouts, fast payouts, and as long as you maintain the funded account, consistent payouts. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to get funded, simulated prop firms up to $800,000, check out Blue Guardian, the prop firm. Now, if you are a futures trader and you are all into the futures scene, guess what? Blue Guardian Futures is here. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy no activation fees. That's right. You heard me say it. No activation fees. You pay your monthly subscription, and once you pass the challenge phase, your monthly subscription is canceled and you are on to funded stage. Also, once you make it to funded stage, you get 100% of your first $15,000 worth of payouts. Ladies and gentlemen, Blue Guardian Futures is here. If you are a trader, whether it's Forex, whether it's indices, whether it's commodities, or in the futures market, Blue Guardian has you covered. Check them out. BlueGuardian.com, and for futures, BlueGuardianFutures.com to get your challenge started today.
I truly believe trading under an entity is the right way to go, but you want to be a profitable trader, right? Unless you are a profitable trader, you still in the phase of mastering your craft. Like any individual that comes to me, my first question usually, have you mastered your craft, right? In the publication, one of the things that IRS will say to you is that you need to be doing this to put food in your table, right? So it's kind of like you'll find people that says, okay, I'm running a business. If you are running a business, it is to make money. So if you're not making money, then we have a problem. So you want to distinguish if this is a hobby or if you are actually running a business. So trading under an entity, I truly believe is the right way. For two reasons. One, what the LLC literally do is two things. It gives you a limited liability. It's kind of a protection umbrella. So if I come after Calvin, right, I'm not going to come after Calvin personal assets. I'll be coming after Calvin entity. Whereas if you're trading under your social security number, if I'm coming after you, I'm going to come after you with everything you have. So the LLC is kind of like a protection umbrella to protect your assets. The number two thing that it gives you is that things are not under your social security number. The more that things are less under your name and under your social security number, the better it is. Tax benefits was not created for individual. It was created for business owner. This is why our corporate world continues to blossom, right? And as individuals that we considered middle class, we still like struggling. So the benefit of taxation are for business owners. So why not be a business owner?
Come on. I love it. This is good already. So I did an interview and I was talking to some guys who make, over seven figures through their different businesses and things like that. And they have businesses around trading. But we were having a conversation and we just had this moment where we were saying like a LLC is like what we were sold. Like you got to get an LLC, But that's really like once you start making money, that's really not where you want to stay.
No.
And, there was this line in that interview where like, I was just basically saying like the LLC is like the scam of what they tell you, you need to be. And so a lot of people were like, okay, like, what do you mean by that? Because everybody keeps telling me I need to start an LLC. And you kind of mentioned it because as a LLC, especially a single member LLC, and I learned this the hard way, you're taxed twice. And that's what I learned. Last year, I paid the most money in taxes I ever paid in my life. And I was like, do it again. Like I was telling the tax, like, do it a couple more times. 'Cause this cannot be right? And then I found out. So I got with my people and we applied to be taxed as an S-Corp. Can you talk about this and explain this for the audience? Because in that moment when I was doing the interview and we had that moment and I was like, LLC is a scam, right? People were like, what does he mean by that? So I have you here. I have the professional here. So can you explain that? Yes. But I also think this too, before you go, that happens once you make a certain amount. So I told people, like, I believe, like, in business or in trading, once you pass like the 6-figure mark, you definitely want to consider moving away from the traditional LLC or single member LLC status.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, explain, please.
So I tell people this: having an accountant is like having a good barber, right? You don't cheat on your barber, right? Some people I've been going to the same hairdresser since I was 10 years old.
Are you serious?
Serious.
Wow.
Maria in Bradenton, Florida. So I've been going to the same hairdresser since I was 10 years old. So having a good accountant is like having a good barber. It's kind of having a good doctor. My daughter's 20 years old and her pediatrician is still the same. And the same pediatrician she had is the same pediatrician my sister had for all her kids. So, and you don't want to also have a different attorney every other year. Why? If something happens to you, you want your attorney to know who you are, right? If they're going to defend you, they need to be able to defend Calvin, knowing Calvin. It's the same thing with having an accountant. So when it comes to your money, and I say this with all of my heart, I know it's not all accountants that are good accountants, right? Just like any other industry, right? So you'll find, and especially in the entertainment industry, you'll find people that's been scammed, or they've lost so much money, or they owe IRS and their money has never been paid. So I do understand there's pros and cons to this. So once you start in the stock market, you start being a profitable trader, there's 3 things that I highly recommend. 1, you want to have a business attorney. You want to have an attorney. 2, you want to have an accountant, right? And the 3rd thing I would say, you want to have a good mentor, because somebody has to counsel you, right? Even the judge has a judge. The doctor has a doctor. I have an accountant. I'm an accountant. So you want to have a good mentor that can counsel you. But in the accountant side, when it comes to LLCs being a scam and an S-Corp, with what happens is that people wake up and they say, oh, I want to open a business, without understanding the fundamental of business, right? The true definition of accounting is the language of business. So your accountant actually speaks that language. So she or he understands the language of business. So then with an LLC, when you wake up and say, I wanted to open that business, that usually started off as a hobby. And there's a difference between running a business and managing it in the back end. So a lot of people are very good at what they do, running it, but managing it, they're terrible. So the first thing they do is they open an LLC without any type of instruction of what is best for them to do. I had a client last year that had 5 LLCs. Why? For no reason. Most of them didn't even have $60K in them. So without the proper counsel, without the proper advice, right? So we're starting off wrong already. So we just wake up, we open an LLC, and then boom, it's tax season, and your accountant say, oh, you owe $30,000. Why do I owe $30,000? Because you weren't educated on what was in your best interest. You didn't educate yourself on the fundamentals. So the first area of mistakes is the entity. It's always the entity. Almost every client I come in across, the first thing I do is audit their business structure. So when it comes to an S-Corp, when you start off, is a single member LLC the best option for you? No one ever knows that. Not until I know what the goal is. What is the goal? Do you have a partner? Is there someone you want to be working with? Is this something that you and your wife is going to do? Because sometimes the business needs to be a partnership. It needs to be a 1065, but you have created it as an LLC. Sometimes you should have started off as an S-Corp, but you did a single member LLC. Once you reach the threshold, to be honest with you, between $60,000, $70,000, it's time to pivot.
Wow.
It's time to pivot.
You don't even need to hit six figures.
You don't even need to hit six figures.
Wow.
It's time to have the conversation. And you should be having that conversation with your accountant, or your accountant should be having that conversation with you. The biggest difference between an S-Corp and a single member LLC is that self-employment tax, right? And what the self-employment tax is FICA. So when you worked in the corporate world and you received a W-2 every 2 weeks, FICA, which is Social Security, Medicare, right? You pay those taxes, and the employer paid half and you paid half. So now that you, not the employee, you are self-employed, you are required to pay the whole thing. That's that 15.3. When you elect as an S-Corp, when you say, I no longer want to be an LLC, I want to be taxed. I don't want to be taxed as a self-employment. I want to be taxed as an employee. That's what the S-Corp does. So now when you elect as an S-Corp, you're telling IRS, don't tax me as a self-employed. Tax me as an employee. So you are required to take payroll, and FICA is taken out of that W-2. So the entity itself, S-Corp, is not taxed because we took the 15.3 away and we put it on the W-2 end. I know that was a mouthful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do an example.
Yeah.
In terms of numbers, okay.
Let's just say I make 100K.
Let's do a round off at 100K.
100K.
And now, so let's first start off with the single member LLC tax.
Yep, single member LLC. I'm single, right? I make 100K. If I'm looking myself on a tax bracket, I'm probably around 21%, right, on the federal side. So it's 21% plus 15.3.
So I'm paying over 30% in taxes.
Some of you paying 50% or more.
Wow. So that's nearly almost $50,000 out of my 100K I made from my single member LLC. I'm paying in taxes.
But understand this as well too. I think what happened is when we look at the tax bracket and it says I'm at 21%. A lot of us have this mindset that I pay 21%. No. The first 10,000 is at 10%.
Oh, okay.
So there's levels to it, right? Let's do it. Let's pull up the tax bracket right now for you. So let's just say I'm at the tax bracket. We'll say 2024 tax bracket. And I teach this in my course. So you have 10%, you have 12%, 22%, 24%, 32% as an example. Mm-hmm. So the first let's say I'm single. Let's use the single. I like single better. Even though married, finally, jointly is usually better, but I like single better. So the first 10% is 0 to 11,000. So 0 to 11,000, I pay 10%. Out of that, 100K.
Okay.
From 11,000 to 47,000, I pay 12%.
Okay.
And from 47,000, right, to 100,000, I pay 22%. So if you take 40, let's just say we're rounding off. Love calculator. Yes, the accountants still use the calculator. So let's say 100K subtracted by 47,000. Mm-hmm. So 53,000 is what I'm being taxed at 22%. Not the whole 100K.
Not the whole 100K. Okay. So 53,000 and that's taxed on 22%.
Correct.
So what, how much is that?
So let's just say we're at 53,000, right? That's taxed at 22%, right? So that gives us about 40, 41, 53, subtracted by 41. That gives you about 12,000.
Okay, so that's $12,000 in taxes.
Correct. But that's just between the what? Between on the 20%.
Yeah.
That's between the 47,000 to the 100,000.
Ah.
So it's not the whole 100,000 that's being taxed at 22%.
Okay.
So if you subtract 47 from 100,000, that gives you 53,000.
Okay.
But then don't forget, you also had the 11,000 from 47,000.
So we got to calculate that too.
So all of that calculation is done for you when we're doing your tax return.
When the tax is done.
Correct.
Okay.
So the biggest thing, and I don't want to confuse you guys, the biggest thing for you to understand is, one, is not your total net income that is taxed at 22%. Mm-hmm. Okay? So there's levels to it. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. The second thing is, let's just say my total average is 18%.
Okay.
So then that's 18%, right? In reality, that's 18% plus 15.3. So that's 33%.
Okay.
So you are now being taxed 33% overall your net income, which is still extremely high.
Very high.
So what is the goal? The goal is to get rid of the 15.3. Are we going to get rid of the whole 15.3? No, it's half.
Okay.
So I'm an S-Corp,
Okay.
right? So I am taxed as an S-Corp. Now, my company pays me bi-weekly, just like if I worked for ABC. Mm. So every 2 weeks I get paid, and on my paycheck, guess what comes out? FICA. That 15.3. Not the whole thing, though, because the business pays half, I pay half. Right?
Yeah.
So now, when I do my tax return, another huge difference is that under the S-Corp, you're completing 2 tax returns. Mm-hmm. The business and then your personal. Whereas under the LLC, it's 1 tax return.
It's all together.
Correct.
Wow.
Because it's self-employment. So then when I complete that business return, what am I doing? I'm taking my gross, subtracting my expense, which gives me my net, right? Whatever the net is either the gain or the loss of the entity for the year. So let's just say I made $100K, but I had $50,000 worth of expense. My net is $50,000. Now I'm taking that out of that net. I'm taking that $50,000. What I'm doing is I am going to roll it over to my personal, because that's still income, which is a K1. You take that K1, right? And you complete your personal return with that K1. So what you're going to be taxed on the federal side is the $50K. The entity itself, the S-Corp itself, is not taxed.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
So in that same example, like if you could just throw a number, in that same example you just gave, the 100K now taxed as an S-Corp, how much in taxes do you think?
So the 100K is not taxed as you tax as an S-Corp, but the S-Corp is not taxed.
Okay.
So out of the 100K, right?
How much would the individual pay in taxes?
I took 60% on payroll.
Sheesh.
Don't forget the pay.
Yeah.
So if I take 60%, that gives me what, 40, right? Out of the 40,000, right, I have $20,000 worth of expense. Now I'm left with what? $20,000 worth of net income. So I'm taxed on the $20,000. But don't forget, you also tax on the payroll side.
Yeah.
On the W-2.
Yeah.
Because that's what got rid of the 15.3.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the difference.
So we talking like
a huge benefit.
Yeah, like you could be paying what, like $3-4K, like in taxes off that personal income, maybe.
I had a client last year that paid $75,000 on taxation.
Okay.
That was his tax liability, but that's because he came to me last minute. So when we introduce him, it's time for you to pivot. We're like, listen, it's time for you to pivot. He trade cryptocurrency, and he trades stocks, and he's doing very well. So it's time to pivot. So when we pivot, he went from paying $67,000 plus, and this year in 2024, I believe we got it down to about 15. That's how much of a difference it can make.
Wow. Between single member LLC
and
being
an
taxed
S-Corp.
twice to now paying yourself as an employee.
Yep.
Wow.
So there's options out there, right? And that's probably why I love to trade options.
70-something thousand tax bill to then maybe around
Exactly.
15,000.
Exactly.
That's a huge
But
break.
here's where you will find why some people will say, oh, well, I can't, because it costs you more, right, as an S-Corp than it is a single member LLC to serve you. Why? Because as an S-Corp, a lot of accountants, including me, will say, hey, even under an LLC, you need to keep your books. You need that P&L and that balance sheet. You need to allocate your expenses, right? We need to reconcile your books. We need to see where those money are going. So, and that's going to cost you more. So the question really is going to be, if invest in your accountant or pay IRS.
Either one, either or. I mean, you choose your battle. But you're absolutely right. Like with everything you're saying, it's like, it's my journey. Like it's emotional as you talk because I can feel it. Like that's the thing I had to bite this year. I wasn't managing my books in years prior. This year, I had to pay an accounting company to do my books. And a lot of times when I saw that money withdraw from my account at the first of every month, I'm like, because you don't see it yet.
Yes.
You know, all you see is them taking money, and then every month you have a call with them and they review everything, they show you, but you're not seeing how your money is being spent. But when I do those taxes,
you gotta see the savings.
Exactly, I'm gonna see it. So everything you're saying is like it's facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything you're saying is real.
Yeah.
Because I'm experiencing it right now.
There's so many other beauty to it as well too. There's pre-tax, right? Retirement benefit into trading under an entity. Another thing with my client that was hitting high income, right? And we needed to lower his net income. At the end of the day, even in the politician world, at the end of the day, it's always about taxation. Nobody wants to pay tax, right? So I always tell my clients, once we're looking at a high tax liability, there's a couple of things you need to do. We need to actually look at tax strategies. We need to look at we need to move that money. We need to move the money, right? Where can you move the money? If you're trading under an LLC, if you're trading under an S-Corp, let's move it to a SEP IRA. Like, let's move it to a solo 401k. You can move $60,000 to a SEP IRA. Whereas under individual IRAs, what, 7,000? 60,000, 7,000, you can move that money. You can move that money to a solo 401k. And the stock market is just one market. There's other markets out there. The real estate market is huge. If we move that money to a solo 401k, you can now, right? You can now, borrow money from that solo 401k and then do real estate with it. Like there's so much options out there, but counseling is important, advising is important, strategies is important. The idea of just trading is not enough if you in the market to really succeed in it.
That's really good, Abby. Yeah, it's really good. How long have you been advising like traders on taxes?
I started running my firm in 2014. Let's just say during COVID, I started being heavy in the market. I got heavy in the market. I was probably trading more than I was working. So I got really heavy in the market, and I would say my first loss experience was traumatizing for me. I lost over $280,000 in the stock market.
Wow.
And when
in 1 year?
1 year. That took place within months.
What?
So
$280,000?
So when that took place, it's okay to have to go through therapy, y'all, when you lose money in the market.
Can we throw your daughter in real quick? Like what? Her daughter's here, by the way. Did you know about that? Or did you notice her acting different?
I did. Eventually,
Listen.
be like, everything okay?
Yeah.
Asked me some questions, and then she communicated with me what was going on.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And then what took place was that, and it was this idea of, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to double, triple it. Hell, I'm going to get 700% in this. And it was my baby girl school money.
Wow.
So it had two different type of effect on me. It was one, there's my money. I just lost my money. But then it was not your money. It was for her school money. So yeah, I got traumatized in the stock market. But the real thing that really took place is when I did my tax return. My accountant did my tax return. And when she did my tax return, I told her, just like you, I need you to check that again.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with this? I lost over $280,000. And
so all of that should be written off. So we thought, right?
So it's so funny. She was like, Abby, you should know this. I said, no, give me a minute. So I went digging.
She didn't, hold up. She did not tell you, you should know this, Abby. Like, you're an accountant. You should know this. She did not hit you with that.
She sure did. She showed it. And listen, all power to her, because she was right. But what people doesn't understand is I have clients that are accountant. Accounting is very broad. It's kind of like you saying you're a doctor, right? But would you allow an OBGYN obstetrician to do surgery, a heart surgery? So it's very broad. Even though I'm an accountant, my niche is different. So your concentration is different. So then during that time, my niche, I believe, was real estate. So I was really, most of my clients were real estate investors or realtors. So when she did my tax return, I was like, wait. So I was like, I went and read every single publication on the IRS. And nobody have read all the publication, because even IRS doesn't understand IRS sometimes. Those publications hasn't even been updated. That's how old they are.
Wow.
So I got into publication. I read publication $4.95. What's the publication? And I said, oh, I'm screwed. And I'm going to pull up the publication for you guys, because I know you guys are going to want that. I said, oh, wow. I can only write off $3,000 up to 7 years.
Are you serious?
280, you can only write off $3,000 up to 7 years.
So you can't even do that 3,000 every year. It's a collective of $3,000 over 7 years.
Over 7 years. So you can only imagine how frustrated. And then I think what came over me was more of, if I don't know this, no one knows this. Like, I feel like if you don't know this, Abby, then that means no other traders know this. So I think I spent 2019, I went back to school. Not necessarily school, but I went back to school and just read the publication, understanding how taxation and trading, the stock market, cryptocurrency, futures, Forex, option. And what I found that was so intriguing was that in the stock market, none of them are taxed the same. Every one of them are taxed differently. Options is not taxed the same way as Forex. Futures is not taxed the same way as stock. All of them are taxed differently. So I was like, okay, I just found a problem and I'm going to solve it. I'm going to be that person that solved this problem. And if you guys remember, what was that community that everybody met into? What was it? What was it called? During COVID, everybody was in, what was it called? I forgot the name. Oh, I forgot. But I just started teaching it. Like, not necessarily teaching it. I just started informing people. I was like, oh, you in the stock market? Don't do this. Do that instead. You trade Forex? Okay. Make sure you know what forms to use. Okay, you trade future? You need to know what blended tax is. So then I just started telling people and just started informing people, because in the back of my head, I kept thinking, okay, I'm not the only person that made this mistake. You know, I'm not the only person that lost this money. And I was very transparent about it too. I was like, I lost a lot of money. So if you lose a lot of money, this is what you need to do. And then, and when I read Mark to Market Election, that's when the light bulb. I could have wrote all the $280,000.
What is that exactly? Like, was that a book?
No, mark-to-market election. Is,
that's like a part of the tax code.
Oh, yeah. It's a part tax code. So what IRS says is, if you elect mark-to-market election, and whatever your total loss is at the end of the year, you can write off the whole thing.
You should have called that accountant and said, "Oh, you didn't know? You should." You didn't know, and this your niche, and you didn't know this?
It's so funny because I think after that year, I got her trading. She wasn't really in the stock market. She started trading herself, and she's killing it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I immediately elected as a mark-to-market election. You know, I started trading, and then what made it worse is that next year I was profitable. So it wasn't really, but what I did, I rolled over my losses.
You were able to actually roll those losses over into a new year?
3,000.
Some of them.
3,000 up to 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, like, the tax game seems to be a game of just, like you said, it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed.
Since forever. So it's just a game of the person that knows is the person that wins.
In reality, yes, or resource. Not being shy. Even my clients, I educate them. And here's the reason why, right? None of us read the small print. There's a reason why they're small. It's intentional. I don't want you to read it. I don't want your focus to be in a small print. And I feel like taxation is all small prints. So if we are not intentional about the knowledge, if we're not intentional about wanting to know before we sign, you have no idea how many people say, well, I didn't know that's what my tax preparer did, or I didn't know that's what my CPA did. Well, did you not read? You know, and did you not inform yourself? So in the back of their mind, that is her job. I trusted her, and this is what happens to those entertainers, right? That thought their accountant paid their taxes for them.
Hear it all the time.
You hear it all the time,
Yeah.
Or that focus so much on running the business, right? But not focusing so much managing it in the back end. So educating yourself to the basic is so important. Understand what Form 1099-B is. Understand, okay, if you receive a 1099-B right now from Vanguard, right? Do you know what it means? Do you know what the cost base means, right? Do you know what the wash sale is? I had a client that had $30,000 on wash sale.
I don't even know what wash sale is. Like, what is that? I don't even, you got to fill me in here.
So the wash sale rule was a rule that IRS came up with, the government came up with, because what would happen is the big dogs, they would wait till December 31st. And whatever they had in their portfolio that was a loss, they would sell it so they could write it off. So what IRS like, y'all cheated. And then they would immediately rebuy it.
In the new year.
That's called double dipping. So they would double dip. They would sell it, get the loss on their taxes, and then just rebuy it immediately. And IRS was like, no, that's double dipping. You can't do that. You need to wait 30 days or more before you can repurchase that stock. So I could buy Apple. Let's just say I bought Apple at $130, and Apple now is $100. It's December 31st. I'm like, tax season coming around. I need to write off these losses. And I sell Apple. I was like, now you need to wait. If you took that loss, you need to wait 30 days before you if you don't wait, we're gonna hit you with a fee. That's the wash sale rule.
Wow.
So then they'll see the fee and be like, Abby, in my 1099-B, what's this wash sale that the broker charged me? They don't even. So it's important to know the basic. And sometimes if your cost base is higher than or lower than, you need to know why. You'll be amazed how many mistakes Robinhood makes. There's humans behind these. Wow. So anywhere where there's human behind anything, mistakes can be made, right? So it's important for you to know the basics. So if a mistake is made, at least question it.
But how can you question it if you don't have the information? You have the knowledge.
This is why you need to invest into an accountant.
Wow. It's easy for us when we get into day trading, we get into the markets, to just think about, how much money we want to make, how many people's lives we want to change, and all of the fairy tale and the big dreams and the big wishing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever ask ourselves, and for those that do, it's very few of them that ask themselves, because I know I'm not one of those people. I never really asked myself, okay, how am I going to manage this money and make sure that managing it, keeping it, not giving away what I don't need to give away, and able to maximize this by protecting
your assets,
my assets, you know? And I don't think that is a question that we think about.
No, not at all. And we're not good stewards. We need to learn to be good stewards. What is given to us, right? We have a responsibility towards. There's only few things you could do with money, right? You could give it, right? You could spend it.
And we do a lot of that.
We do a lot of that.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. We could give it, we could spend it, we can reinvest it, and we can pay bills with it. Those are the four things. So if we're not good steward, like a lot of my young clients that are traders, sometimes I find out that I'm their mom as well. So I'll be like, no. Don't post cash on social media. No, don't go buy another car.
Yeah.
Go buy another piece of land. So I think there's a lack of mentorship with the generation that's getting into the stock market. Like they don't have a relationship with money, and because they don't have a relationship with money, they're lacking being a good steward with it when it comes to them.
That's so true.
And what I'm praying for is that those of us, right, that is mature enough are able to just reach out and say, hey, youngster, I know you're in your 20s, right, and I know there's a lot of money that is hitting you. This is what I would advise.
Yeah. I love that. Because you have a background in real estate, there's something I've always heard, and I wanted to know, was it true?
Okay.
So, especially here in Central Florida, you have a lot of empty, lots and land, and you see cattle on it, but you don't necessarily see like a house on it. It's just a open land, and you just see cattle. There's no like barn, there's no human, no sign of human. You just see the cattle there. I was told that people buy land, put cattle on it, and when they put the livestock on it, they don't have to pay taxes. Is that true?
That's one, depending on your state.
Okay.
Every state is different.
Is that a thing in Florida?
Yes, there is.
Okay. So are these people strategically buying
because they're creating activity on the land?
Yeah. Saving on taxes and letting the value build up into a developer ready to come through, and then they sell. Is that what's taking place?
Oh, a lot of it. A lot of it here. A lot of, and what I also you see what's taking place is, yes, justification is taking place everywhere, but I've been in the Tampa area all my life. Like, we moved to Florida when I was 10. So I was raised in Sarasota, but most of my life was done in Tampa. So if you know Tampa, a lot of they're moving people from Tampa to the Riverview, to the Brandon, and they're reshaping Tampa itself. So the space, there's a lot of space in Florida. There's a lot of land. Winter Haven, there's a lot of Ocala. There's a lot of land that has not been touched yet, but you'll see those cows there.
They there.
And there's a lot of opportunity in Florida for agriculture.
Talk to me. Come on, drop some gems. Because we as traders, we need to know where to put these profits.
I feel like a lot of us need to look into agriculture. Especially living in the United States of this America. And why do I say that? So there's different type of wealth, right?
Yeah.
One of the wealth that I feel like we have not tapped into, is the health.
Come on, man, because that cancer killing us, and it's in the food. Come on,
somebody. And being a child of an immigrant, we understand what the difference are when it comes to the food here and the food back at home.
You're Haitian, right?
Oh, yeah.
So right now, I want to give a shout out to my childhood. So, I grew up, and there was this Haitian family that moved across the street from me.
Oh, way cool.
And shout out to Miss Marie, God rest her soul, James and Elsie and Juna and just the whole crew, right? But they were the first. I had never seen this before. When they moved over there, the first thing their mom did was built that garden.
That part.
Because they had a nice like yard and everything. And she grew everything she cooked, she grew. And I had never seen that before. I'm this inner city kid. I had never seen that before.
Okay.
Everything was fresh. And she cooked like they very rarely ate out. She cooked. I seen her cook that food fresh.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm like, wow. And I used to ask my mom, used to be like, boy, I ain't got no time to be starting no garden. I don't even know how to start a garden. But it was like, it was amazing to me, shocking. And that's like, hearing you say that, I think that's where we need to get to.
If you lived in Miami and you were around a Haitian family, that yard had mangoes.
Yes.
It had mangoes, it had okra, it had tomatoes, it had watermelon.
Everything.
It had avocado trees.
And the food was good. It was good food.
Haitian food is good food, y'all. Just like, and happy Independence Day to all of my Haitians out there.
Hey, let's go, let's go, let's go.
So I would say we do.
Well, has it been like 100 years of independence, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So to my investors out there that are, and shout out to couple of you that I know that have like invested into a lot of lands and a lot of buildings. I know Trap just pour out. He invested into this huge. And I think what happened is that we're so focused on real estate, buildings, homes, that we're not seeing the next best thing. And I think the next best thing is agriculture.
Wow.
Yeah, farming. And it's not just let's buy a piece of land and just let's start farming. I think there needs to be a fundamental. There needs to be an education. Start teaching your kids how to make their own food. Start teaching them how to plant watermelon, how to throw some seed, because we need to start reaping some stuff ourselves, right? Because the yes, you can make the money and hire somebody to cook it for you, but let's go further than that. Let's make it ourselves. So shout out to all the Black farmers out there that are making their own food, that have like that 20-acre, and they have cows in there, they have chicken in there. Oh my God. Like when I see that, besides the stock market, that lights me up, because then now we're teaching our young ones, right, how to feed self.
Yeah.
How to make it, how to make your own food. And I think we're lacking health.
I agree.
We're lacking health on the wealth side. Yeah, and I think once we can tap into that, yes, we do need you guys to go back to the community and build townhomes, build homes, but we also need you to purchase that 20-acre and start having some cows in there.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to my boy, man. Shout out to my boy Ron also. Like he just purchased the house and I think he got like 20 acres.
Let's go.
Yeah. He got a house sitting on 20 acres. He got a lake and all of that stuff. And that was one of the things. It's crazy because he's been thinking like, the way you talking, he's been thinking that way. And before he brought the house, his wife started a garden, and they was like literally raising chickens and fresh eggs, fresh literally everything was just, they created the atmosphere for it, and they grew it themselves. So
the country crisis,
that's a real thing.
I don't think is economic. I really think the country crisis is health. And the health is all in your food.
It is in your food.
So as we built wealth in our community, as Black Americans, right, as immigrants or whoever you may be, everyone in the whole world, as you built wealth, it's also important to focus on health. What's the point of wealth if you're not healthy? There's no point of it. And don't just only focus on it. Just like you're teaching your little boy the technicals, right?
Yeah.
Also teach them, how to how to grow food. It's not going to get better. So it's us that got to get better.
That's true. So on that note, because you're bringing up something good here. So on that note, like, you just moved.
Yes.
How do you eat? Like, where do you buy like the best meat from, or like, are you vegan? You know, like, do you even eat meat? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I just moved to Seattle, Washington, and one of the things I could say about Seattle, the food is good in Seattle. And Seattle is very big on small businesses, which I would say I really appreciate. Coming from Florida, so we're big on corporate than small businesses. I have not touched any fast food because the amount of options that you have, and I'm talking about mom and pops, is a lot.
Wow.
And people love to grow stuff as well too in their little garden, and I love that. I love that they garden a lot in Seattle. Now, the weather's not the best, but it doesn't really bother me as much. I would say one thing I can appreciate in Seattle is that the Black community is very small, but they're tight. They're tight. And I kind of like that. It's a different culture, extremely, because, you know, I call Florida an island. Florida is its own country.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. Miami is its own country.
Miami is its own continent. All right. You got Florida and you got Miami, two different entities.
That is
it's
so
a whole
true.
nother. Miami is a whole
different
All right,
beast.
it's a whole nother beast.
Yes, but it's a very huge culture shock coming from Florida to Seattle.
For sure.
But I'm not vegan.
Yeah.
But I'm really big on my fish.
Okay.
So snappers. All Haitian love snappers. So it's snappers, salmon, and
love that salmon.
Yes, love that salmon.
Yeah.
But I stay away from the. I do love a good steak, but I try to stay away from my red meat.
Yeah, that red meat. Yeah.
I try to stay away from my red meat and the pork.
Yeah.
Try to stay away from those. Right.
Yeah.
The only thing I haven't
been in the mud.
No. Stay away from it. The only thing I would say I haven't been able to quite give up is my sweet and my rice. We're Haitian. Our rice is our main dish.
Yeah.
I need to get rid of the rice.
For sure.
Yeah, but
so when you were in Florida, like, where did you shop? Like Trader Joe's, stuff like that, or no?
Publix. I'm a Publix girl.
Okay.
And when I went to Seattle, I didn't find Publix. I was sad.
Okay.
But Trader Joe's, they have Trader Joe's in Seattle.
Okay, yeah.
I think Trader Joe's is kind of like Publix here.
Yeah, so Trader Joe's, like, their thing is, like, they're big on, like, the no, like, hormones and all that stuff.
I love that.
Like, in the meats and stuff like that. And so all of their products, they, like, make, like, with their farms. Like, they raise everything from the fruits to the meats and all that stuff, yeah.
And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. Because in reality, you have to travel around the world to see how bad our food is.
I went to Dubai, and when I got in, it was late. So I know that, you know, the restaurants, well, you know, I'm coming with that American mentality, right? It could have been different, but I'm just thinking like
You're
an
looking
American.
for your McDonald's.
Yeah, so I get there and I'm like, well, it's late and everything's getting ready to close, and I'm at the mall. The mall's like 15 minutes away from closing. I'm at the food court, and so I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't want to go to the restaurant because they're going to give me the scraps. It's not going to be fresh, you know, because I'm having that American mentality, right? So I see McDonald's in the food court, so I say, okay, I'm gonna just go to McDonald's. I go to McDonald's. I have never tasted clean McDonald's like that. Like, the chicken nuggets were like air fried, super light. It was much cheaper. Yeah. Everything was light. It was a total difference.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
But somebody told me, it was like, yeah, like the Dubai government, they're very strict on how food is made and produced. Like, they're very, very strict on that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
So what traveling does, it gives you a different eye and a different perspective about the food. And even though the brand may be the same, but the ingredients are not.
Absolutely.
Right? I remember my dad just being sick gastro-wise, and he would go back home. And when he come back to the U.S., his doctor would be like, whatever it is you did, keep doing it.
Wow.
And it was just the food.
He just changed the
It
habits.
was just the food.
Yeah.
You know, the chicken size here are like turkey size back at home.
It's ridiculous.
Have you ever seen a banana?
It's crazy.
Or a grape?
Yeah, I saw an apple that was as big as my head, and I was like, "What is this? Is this a pumpkin?" Like, I'm so serious. It's crazy.
It is.
But going back to what you said, though, especially in Florida, especially in Miami, like the corporations and the commercial restaurants, they're everywhere. You cannot go, and they like, it's impossible for the mom and pop to set up because just to buy a space, it's ridiculous. Like, it's over their budget. They can't do it.
Exactly.
They just can't do it.
Yeah. I can literally say I appreciate Seattle for that, because even if I don't want to cook, I can actually find a mom and pop that the food is fresh. That, you know, it's not a McDonald's. It's not a fast food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I actually like that.
So you know what I'm gonna do as soon as I finish it? While I'm in Orlando, like, I'm definitely just gonna like Google a U-pick or something and just go out there on the farm and just grab me some fresh fruit. Like, you just got me thinking while I'm here, I'm just gonna take advantage.
Boy, you gotta start looking at those lands.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So with our taxes, right? Yeah. The first thing you mentioned was before a trader can even start thinking about what LLC to start, what tax plan that they want to do, they need to first be profitable. Yeah. Let's just put a needle and just stick it right there.
Right there.
Just a post, like a goal post.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to talk profitability.
Yeah.
Profitability is very, very hard.
It is.
For a lot of people.
It is.
It has been a journey for me to maintain it.
Yeah.
I got to it fairly quickly. Thank God for prop firms. You know, my bleeding lasted maybe like a year of like, you know, losing, winning a little bit, seeing it all go down because I didn't withdraw, right? And then, you know, I got there. Like 2022 was very, very like breakout-ish, you know, for me. And it was because of prop firms, right? But a lot of people struggle to get profitable. And for me, like, my struggle personally is like, how can we elevate and take the profits to another level? That's been my struggle. You know what I mean? How can we go bigger? You know, but it's really a real thing. Traders are struggling to even make money in the market.
It's psychology, right? So one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients is master your craft. What tends to happen is that we give up so quickly, right? Especially on a technical level. Like, I tell people a lot that I wish I learned Forex before I started trading option. And the reason why is because Forex, you cannot start trading Forex until you master your technical levels, right? So there's areas in the stock market. You have your technicals, you have your fundamentals. But one of the biggest aspects what people lack of is psychology, is the psychology of trading, right? And in order for you to get to the psychology of trading, you need what? Discipline.
Yeah.
You need discipline. So I think when I started being profitable is when I stayed with whatever my plan was. Once I was out of whatever, if my plan was to make $500 a day, the minute I made my $500, the day I got out of that plan, I lost money. So the advice I would probably give a lot of traders, stick to your plan, whatever, because the way you trade and the way I trade is not going to be the same. Regardless, if you master your technical and I master my technical, all of us as traders are not the same. And the reason why is because your discipline is not the same as my discipline. Yeah. Right? The way you handle losses is not the way I handle losses. I remember when I started teaching my daughter how to trade, one of the things I told her is learn how to lose first.
Ooh, that's so good. That's so good.
Because if you can master how to lose, winning's easy.
That's true.
Winning's easy. Learn how to lose first. And that's just in all aspect of life, right? Yeah. Once you can master once you fall, to get back up, right? And never stop getting back up, you're going to fall. That's inevitable.
Yep.
right? You're going to lose in the stock market. If you're not losing, then we need to kind of like figure out what you're doing. We're going to lose. So it's a matter of master your craft, right? That's the fundamental, the educational aspect of trading. 2, build discipline. And then 3 is stick to your plan and the psychology of it. Learn how to lose. Master how to lose, and winning will be so simple for you. And mastering how to lose for me was going to therapy. It was going to therapy. When I lost that money, I would, because one of the things that I do to myself is I punish myself. So then I had to learn how to control my emotions, because the stock market messes up with your emotions. Listen, especially you guys that trade futures, y'all be waking up so upset. Man. You either wake up happy or you wake up upset with future. At least with options, for me, I could be like, hey, listen, my 20%, once I hit 20%, I'm out. Yeah. I don't look at it again. Once I hit my 1,000 for the day, if that's the goal, right? Stick to your plan.
Yeah, in and out.
Yes, and you have to really shut the noise. Because listening to Calvin, then listen to Serenity, then listen to Josh, then listening to Mike, there's so many different people you can learn from. And there's nothing wrong with what they're teaching. Just find your little tribe, meaning finding your community, stick to it.
Stick to it.
And that's the hard part. Because, the mind sees trading like a certain way, like this is the meal ticket. This is your way out. And so when you're pursuing something, you're willing to try every angle. You're willing to exhaust every option. And so what the mind does is, okay, I brought, let's just say, for example, I brought Wall Street Trapper's course. Yeah. And I made money right away with his course. Yep. But then I stopped making money. So the first thing you think is something wrong with what his course. like what you're doing. But no, it's not, because you made money with it. So you can't change what you're doing. You got to understand that trading in all markets is a game of probabilities.
It's a game of probability.
And so you got to keep flipping the coin. You got to keep playing the game, right? And so because our mind is not geared to be a trader, our mind is geared to, if it don't work, try a different person. If this person break your heart, go date another person, right? That's how we do life. You know what I mean? So we try to bring that to trading, and trading is, so I have this thing, right? We're taught that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? But you have to be insane to be a trader, because you got to do the same thing over and over again, knowing that the probability is going to flow your way a certain amount of times, depending on your winning percentage. You know what I mean? And so I think that's it's hard for us to become a trader mentally. Because we're doing life the same way we do trading, but there is a slight difference, right? And I think that's why the best traders are they're like militant. They do the same thing every day at the same time.
And they're consistent.
In everything.
They're consistent. And they have there's this level of control. Oh my God, it's amazing. So when I first started trading, understand, I didn't trade based on technicals. I literally trade on fundamentals. I traded on fundamental seasonality. Why that was easier for me is because I can actually literally open a company that I was interested in. Let's just say, for an example, I opened Microsoft. And I was able to look at Microsoft financial reports. I was able to read Microsoft balance sheets. So I was able to review Microsoft finance. And based on that, I can easily see what quarter is Microsoft best quarter. So I would trade on that seasonality. Right? Or it would be AMD, or it would be Google. So when I first got in the stock market, I wasn't really a day trader. I was more of a long-term trader and swing trader. So when I got into my technicals, that's when the emotions got in. And the reason why is because on the fundamental thing, it was more logic. The numbers were right in front of me. So I can dissect them. I can dissect them, and I could see the history, right, of the company.
Yeah.
So what I had to learn is take that same analogy, put it in the charts. I can go back 5 years in the chart. I can go back 5 years in the chart. I can see what the support level is in the chart 5 years ago. So when I took that analogy from the fundamental to the technical, I became a better trader. Now I have not mastered my technical, but the fundamentals I've mastered.
Yeah.
So I would say it's the idea of taking that emotion away, the level of control that when you do lose, it's okay. Just step back.
Yeah.
Just step back. It doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow you're going to lose again. But just like you said, you could have bought Trap course, or you could have bought Tiffany course, or who's a Forex, what's his name? Ty? Is his name Ty? I forgot. One of the Forex trader that's really good. You know, you could have bought his course, and then you were doing very good for a good season. Boom. You had a bad season. That's okay.
That's okay.
Learn how to lose.
Yeah.
Once you master it, one it'll be easy.
Yeah. It's a part of the game for sure. Trade as a business.
Trade as the right way.
The right way. The right way. Come on. Any last thoughts or any takeaways?
Ooh.
Like, what's the big message that you want to give traders in 2025? Like, what does Abby want traders to take away?
I would say trade, build generational wealth, and leave the rest to the professionals. Leave the rest to your accountant. I would also say know the basics. Okay, when a 1099B come in front of you, know what it means. I would also say, purchase our course. Like I teach in one of the courses that that we have in our website, I teach how to trade under an entity the right way, right? So I teach you, how to know all the deductions that you can deduct at the end of the year, because by knowing them, you are intentional.
How many deductions are there for traders? Like if you just had to throw a number out there, how many different types of deductions?
In our deduction list, I think there's like 120.
Wow.
That I've listed.
That's a lot. I was expecting you to say maybe like 10, 15.
That I listed.
Over 100.
That's because anything that is related to trading, you may say, okay, Abby, what can be related to trading besides my workspace, or the book that I purchased at Amazon, or the Discord, or the subscription. What else?
Yeah, those are things I think about.
You went to Dubai, didn't you not?
That is definitely
was it not related
to
trading?
Oh, IRS, I ain't paying for that trip. You better believe it. You better believe it. And I flew business class.
Come on now.
I ain't paying for that.
And all the expenses that was related, anything that is related to trading, right? The minute I say the word, people say, okay, Abby, how can I know if an expense is for business, right? So I always say, ask yourself, is this for me or is this for the business? As long as it's for the business, it's deductible. You can deduct it, right? Cool. So I would also say know the changes. Taxation is a forever changing industry. It goes as far as whoever is going to be in the White House. So it's a forever changing industry. So understand the changes that are going to take place next year, 2024 tax year. Understand the changes ahead of what does it look like having Trump in the White House? How does taxation affect me? How does taxation
affect me? Do you think it's going to be good for business owners when Trump is in the White House?
I think
he say it's going to be good, but from your experience when he was in the first time, is it good?
I think economically, I think our country is economically better with Democrats. But when it comes to the corporate world, I think economically it's better when it's red. So how does that affect us? Let me not use the word fear because I don't believe in fearing.
Come on.
But what I believe is that if we're not careful, we will no longer have what's called a middle class. We will either have the poor or the rich. And this is where things can get really, really ugly. Because as you see the country moving, the rich is getting richer. And what's really suffering is our middle class. Because let's use an example. If you're poor, you're able to get food stamp.
Yep.
Your medical is paid for, right? So you can buy food. Hell, you can eat steak if you want to.
Yep.
Yes, I can. So I'm going to give you an example. Both of us are at the grocery store, all right? If I'm middle class, I am choosing between chicken and turkey. You're choosing between lobster and steak. Yeah, I'm middle class, you poor.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
I'm telling you.
Or when our elders have to choose between groceries and their medication, we have a problem.
I agree.
So I would say, and I don't usually get into politics, I would say the country needs to go back refocusing on how we can pour into small businesses, because they are what feeds this country.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And we need to go back to taking care of our elders and taking care of that family that have 3 children and a husband and a wife. They should be able to have a steak once a week too.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, but I think things are going to get harder before they get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard someone say, I forgot what I was watching, but I heard someone say that that their life, well, they thought their life was going to be so great, you know, when they started earning 6 figures, you know, and how, you know, once they got there, after the first year, it became evident that, you know, my life is more stressful financially, making over 6 figures. Like, that's what they said.
Yeah.
It's more stressful.
There's no balance.
Yeah.
But
than when I was broke.
But that's because, too, we also live a life without budget. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We also live a life of sliding our credit cards like nobody's business. So we do need to get out of that lifestyle. We also live a life of, you know, materialistic. We're very materialistic in this world. So we need to budget. I truly believe in the idea of you need to budget. You need to have a game plan. You need to have a plan. I was devastated when I got out of my game plan. It cost me $280K, right? So it's important to have a game plan. It's okay to go back to it. You could tweet it. You could tweet it from time to time, but it's important to have one, right? The Word of God tells us, you know, write the vision down, right? You know, speak it, then manifest it. But if you never wrote it down, it's all in your head, then it's just going to stay there.
Yes.
Right? So we also want to manifest these things and then be a good steward. And I would literally say, like, I think, was it this Sunday, don't just have a 2025 game plan, but execute it.
Come on.
Execute it.
Let's go.
And ask the Lord to increase your territory.
I'm telling you. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, Abby is in the building. So any last thoughts, go ahead and share it. And then also let the trading fam know where they can follow you on social media, your website, or anything like that.
Definitely. You guys can follow me on Abby the Accountant on Instagram. You could also follow me on Twitter, all of them. Trader Tax 101 and YouTube, and our website is serenityfsgroup.com. I highly recommend, if you are a profitable trader, I highly recommend it's time to trade under an entity instead of trading under your social security number. I also highly recommend our course, Trade Under Business the Right Way. If you go to our website and you go under course, I highly recommend that course, and I highly recommend talk to me. You know, schedule a discovery call. Let's have a conversation. I also do want to give a shout out to all of you traders out there that are doing your thing. And to all of you that are exceeding that, you know, stretch your hands, mentor somebody.
Come on. That was awesome, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, 2025 is here. Let's make it our best year yet. And a lot of gems were given, a lot of things to think about from the health side to the wealth side and everything in between. So, hey, it's your boy Calvin here, Abby in the building. Just wanted to let you know that I look forward to having a great year with you, bringing on some great guests here. And I'm going to be praying for you guys as I pray for myself that we just put our best foot forward. We manage risk the right way, and we don't do anything that's going to jeopardize our progression in one trade or in one day or whatever the case may be. All right. So, hey, till next time, holla at you guys later. It's your boy Calvin here, Forex Beginner Podcast. You already know I look forward to running into you at the bank one day, but you cannot meet me there. You got to beat me there. When I pull up to the bank, you should be walking out. Duffel bag on your shoulder, big smile on your face. That's my way of saying I believe we all going to be successful. Till next time, God bless you. Take care. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
Oh, that was so dope. That was so dope. Yes.